What is up, my dudes? MTG Tournament Grinder here, and I'm actually really excited to be posting this match myself on Goblins, like I've been fond of lately. Although, spoiler alert, that's going to change soon. Up against Vengvine, or Bridgevine, whatever you like to call it, but the new popular deck that everyone's really keen on at the moment. So I'm excited to be covering it. And it looks like I've got a turn 1 Foundry Street Denizen. It's definitely a part of my explosive start. So we'll see how it goes. Little peek at my opponent's hand. It looks like I don't know the deck well enough to recognize those cards by sight. I mean, there's a Wooded Foothills. Yeah, and then he's going to play it. So this particular opponent is a friend of mine, and I believe he's got Dredge most of the way foiled out. Modern Dredge. And so I think a lot of those foils we'll see in this deck as well, like the foil shocks and whatnot. So he cast one creature. It was an Insolent Neonate. He used it to discard a Vengvine. Creature number 2. Yes, indeed. Another Insolent Neonate. God, this deck is so cool. Yeah, I don't think I'll block. Yeah, no blocks. Because if I lose my creature like that, then I'm really not going to win this game. It's already looking bad as it is. So will I go Quadruple Burning Tree? Oh, okay. Obviously Quadruple Burning Tree is not very realistic, but a Lightning Bolt to take care of that Vengvine seems pretty clean. He'll just trigger it again, and it was probably just a waste of a Lightning Bolt. Sigh. Another Vengvine on top. Oh well, I mean, what are you going to do? This deck is cool, and everyone is playing it for a reason. So he untapped with an Insolent Neonate, and I'm at 16 damage. Yep, 2 Vengevines in the yard, 2 Insolent Neonates, and 2 Wooded Foothills. That's oddly symmetrical. So, mill 3. That card is really what makes this deck so good. Oh, Bloodghast and a Bridge from below. Hot fire. So that's his second creature? Does that, no, it doesn't count as casting it, does it? That counts as casting it. Okay. Holy moly. Triggered 2 Vengevines. And I think the Vengevines get the Bushwhacker kick. So 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18? He's swinging for 18? Oh my goodness. Wow, wow, wow. Very cool. Holy crap. So that's why people are excited about this deck. That was absolutely insane. Turn 3 kill. He untapped with a 1/1 Insolent Neonate and ended up swinging for 18. Closing out the game pretty darn quick. So, wow, I'm impressed. But as far as the sideboard goes, I actually got a peek at the end of the match. So I can tell you that my opponent brought in 2 Lightning Axe. Lightning Axe reads 1 red mana for an instant. As an additional cost to cast Lightning Axe, discard a card or pay 5 colorless mana. And then Lightning Axe deals 5 damage to target creature. You'll never be paying the extra 5 mana. You're going to be discarding a card, because that's actually an upside in this deck instead of the intended downside. Targeted removal is really kind of only okay against my deck, because I just have so many 1-drop creatures that trying to kill them all one by one is not very good. So, my opponent also brought in 2 copies of Collective Brutality, which is a 2-mana sorcery, 1 in a black, escalate, discard a card. So there you're seeing discard again. You could escalate twice to select all 3 modes, and the modes are Duress, essentially, discard an instant or sorcery. Target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn, and target opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. So against Goblins, making me discard Lightning Bolts and Goblin Grenades is pretty good, because that's my only answer to any of their threats that they're throwing down. As for the -2/-2, once again, targeted removal alone, I wouldn't consider that good, but because you can escalate twice with this card and get some gas in the graveyard, I think that makes it worth it. And last but not least, he brought in 1 copy of Blasphemous Act. and that is deal 13 damage to all creatures, regardless of what colors you're playing. If you have access to a board wipe, bringing it in against goblins is a good thing. Well, I think that's about it for the Vengvine sideboard. As for myself, I brought in 2 Relic of Progenitus. Graveyard hate seems pretty obvious here. If he doesn't have a graveyard, he can't bring back Vengevines, or activate Bridge from Below, or do anything, really. So hopefully I draw that card. Also, I have 2 copies of Blood Moon in my sideboard. This is actually a pretty aggressive sideboard plan for goblins. So I have 2 copies each of Relic of Progenitus and Blood Moon, any one of which could be backbreaking against this deck. And as for my outs, I kind of just had to pick 4 things. I think I mentioned this before about sideboarding with this deck. The ins are obvious, but the entire deck is so synergistic and all the cards are so similar that what comes out can be kind of unclear. So I took out 2 Goblin Piledrivers, and I know it's supposed to be one of the better cards in the deck, but post-board, when I know my opponent has access to more removal, playing a 2-drop on turn 2 just to have it removed at your own end step feels really, really bad. And also, I took out Mog Fanatics, because my opponent doesn't have any X1 creatures really that I can think of. So, Stitcher Supplier is a 1/1, but if I sacrifice the Mog Fanatic to kill the Stitcher Supplier, I'm not really sure if that's helping me very much. But either way, that's what I took out, and I think that about wraps it up for the sideboarding. So we'll have to see if I do any better in Game 2 against this absolutely ridiculous deck. Alrighty, here we are back in Game 2, coming off a devastating loss, and I'm on a mull to 6. So, I imagine I'm not feeling very, I'm not feeling on top of the world at this point, shall we say. But Goblins is nothing if not consistent. So there's my turn 1 Foundry Street Denizen again. I think I've had an opponent ask me, do you have a different turn 1 play? I don't think it was this opponent, but someone has asked me that before. Oh, that's sweet. Nice. Blood Moon. So I imagine he will go search up a basic of either color, red or black. But he doesn't. He lets it resolve. That's right. Actually, I think we talked about this after the match, or he made some comment about it here. There is no basic swamp in the deck. And what's the use in going and searching up a basic mountain? So, a mountain it is. So without a basic swamp, what exactly does that cut off? Well, that's good. You can still do Walking Ballistas. But Stitcher Supplier is a black card. Bridge from Below, although you don't want to cast it. You want to discard it. It's probably better than I realize. I just can't think of many black cards that are in the deck. So Burning Tree into nothing. It's rarely the best move to play Burning Tree for no value. Okay. This hand is starting to make more sense. I think the whole reason I kept it was Mountain, Simian, Spirit Guide, Blood Moon. The rest was kind of irrelevant. Having a turn 1 drop was nice. Having a Burning Tree Emissary is nice just in case I happen to top deck like a Reckless Bushwhacker or another Burning Tree Emissary. But that's all just fluff around the heart of the hand. Yeah, and a Relic of Progenitus is just too much. Wow, so this is a short Game 1 and a short Game 2 for this match. We will have to see how it goes in Game 3.
And we're back with Game 3.
I don't know why I like to try my announcer voice at the beginning of Game 3, but it's really fun. Another mull to 6 and a scry to the bottom. Wow, wow, wow. That's no fun. Well, we'll see how it goes. Actually, I think I see another Simian Spirit Guide. Legion Loyalist is not a bad start. Interesting, I offer the trade. So Legion Loyalist is like a good creature for this deck. And I think that's kind of tricky of me to swing like that and offer him the trade. But it's kind of me asking like, how good is your hand? How important is that Insolent Neonate? And by not blocking, he told me it's pretty important. So, swing for 1. Do the fancy stuff, second main phase. Bloodghast. That's not a bad target to discard. Landfall, and it just goes straight from the graveyard to the battlefield. If he has less than 10 life, it even gains haste. So, definitely a good card. And there he goes. Ooh, nice foil Wooded Foothills. I don't own... Well, that's a lie. I have 1 foil Bloodstained Mire. I was about to say I don't own any foil fetch lands. But I have 1. Searching up a mountain. I wonder if that's playing around Blood Moon. Well, I guess not, because it's a mountain. But without a swamp, I wonder if this deck can play against Blood Moon. It has forests, I imagine. He just couldn't go find one with a Bloodstained Mire. I really don't know. I don't have access to my opponent's exact 75. Mug War Marshal.
Got the right goblin token.
Interesting. So the Walking Ballista always makes my life hard, essentially. Always makes my life difficult. If he shoots the Mug War Marshal himself, that's the only bad target. I think probably the token, either token that the Mog Fanatic makes is a bad target. Legion Loyalist, on the other hand, is pretty enticing. He probably wants to block and then before damage shoot the Legion Loyalist or something like that. So Collective Brutality, escalating once, going to discard Vengvine. So it looks like -2/-2 to Legion Loyalist and Duress Me. Which is actually pretty relevant. I don't always have instants or sorceries, but in this case I had 2. So another Mog War Marshal and a Reckless Bushwhacker. This is looking pretty abysmal, being stuck on 1 mountain. Hey, I remember my Mog War Marshal trigger. That can be easy to forget. I untap, upkeep, draw step, and then as I'm looking at my card that I drew, which I know is wrong, but I'm like, oh snap, Mog War Marshal, I was supposed to sacrifice him. Thankfully, it doesn't seem like too big a deal at Tuesday Night Modern at my LGS. But I try to play tight, and I try to play the way I would be forced to if I was at a Star City Games or GP. Some big event like that. Although lately I've been missing all the big events in my part of the country, Texas. I've gone to a few PPTQs though. I've done alright. I haven't got my invite. I will just say that. But my time is coming. And that goes for all of you out there who don't have your invite. Your time is coming. A man can dream. A guy can dream. So this is kind of a weird game. I'm stuck on 1 land, he's stuck on 2. Not much has happened. Reckless Bushwhacker. So before the addition of Burning Tree Emissary, Reckless Bushwhacker was hands down the worst. The worst of the 2 Bushwhackers. I can't tell you how many times I've had a Reckless Bushwhacker in hand, but only 2 mountains. And I've thought, if this was just a Goblin Bushwhacker, I could go red, off to the races. But now with the addition of Burning Tree Emissary, it kind of makes Reckless Bushwhacker the more desirable one, because its surge cost is 1 colorless and 1 red, and not double red. I can actually use the green-red off Burning Tree to just go straight into that. So right now, Burning Tree Emissary is a hot top deck. The only hot top deck. Let's say I draw a land. Doesn't help me. And in order to cast Reckless Bushwhacker, I would still need to draw 2 lands, and then I already have a Lightning Bolt, but I need 2 more lands, and that's just forever away. Actually, I still need 1 more land for Burning Tree Emissary. I can't do math. But, you know, hopefully this game comes together. Yeesh, that doesn't bode well. He got to 3 lands before I could get to 2. And Gravecrawler, he can cast it from his graveyard as long as he controls another zombie. And I'm pretty sure I looked over at Bloodghast and like to see, is that a zombie? And, oof, no, it is a vampire. Yowzas. Well, I'm all tapped out too. Or almost all tapped out. This is what I've been saving my Lightning Bolt for. So he's swinging for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. If I count that right. So let's stop 5 of that right now. That makes it 8. And it's kind of like Affinity. It's like if I block and I lose creatures and I lose board presence, yeah, it was 8. I'm even less likely to win. So I could have stopped like 2 of that damage and traded off with the Goblin Bushwhacker, but he's more likely to replace his creatures than I am. Especially considering I only had 1 mountain at that point in time. Granted, I did just top deck a mountain, but I didn't know I was going to do that. And Walking Ballista is still tricky as hell. But he takes it. For whatever reason, the Walking Ballista is important for some other plan, I think. Please don't kill me. It's kind of ballsy of me to just swing and leave myself completely pants down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, it's not nearly as scary without the Bushwhacker trigger. I'll take 6, I guess. Right down to the wire. Jeez, this is a really good game. A really great match. I always enjoy playing against this particular opponent. A pleasant human being to play against. Holy crap, Blasphemous Act. So we talked about that in the sideboarding, and he did indeed draw it. So no bridge from below, or I would figure out exactly how that would work. But I have to say I'm relieved that there's no bridge from below. I have some good top decks available to me. Like now that I have 2 lands, what is it? Burning Tree Emissary would be really good. Or a 3rd land so I could play my 1-drop and then, yeah. So 1 trigger from the Foundry Street, that's 2. Plus the Bushwhacker triggers 3, 4, 5. Yep, take him to 1. He's got to draw another Blasphemous Act, or he has 1 card in hand. If that's a creature, he just needs to draw another 1-drop creature or another small creature. Trigger those Vengvines. Oh, 2 lands. No, a land and a bridge from below. I see. Well, holy moly. Got there against Vengvine. I think I saw it at its absolute scariest in game 1. So, as usual, you guys know the drill. If you enjoy seeing content like this, you can let me know in the comments below, or even more importantly, you could let me know by subscribing, because that really does help me out, you guys. So, I appreciate your watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.